Hi guys, having trouble keeping focused here. What I was going to do was have another look at this, I think it's Monster High. DRCLRA, I think her name is, the one that's supposed to drive this one. And I did convert it to hobby grade. Stuck a gearbox and motor on the back here, because originally it's just a push along. Cut the front about and 3D printed some steering from the front, for the front. But I kept the original hard plastic wheels all round, because I wanted to keep it as original as possible. And it does run. I'll need to put an ESC in there and a receiver just so we can see it run. So I'll probably do that just so you can see it running. But I was thinking of changing the wheels. If you've seen previous episodes, you know I bought these wheels by accident. So I've been looking for things to do with them. And I reckon I could get them in there. Those are adapters I printed up to use on something else. But I reckon they would just about fit there. Might have to cut the bodywork out a little bit more. At the back end we've got more of a problem if we want to cut the bodywork to put different wheels in. Because we'd have to cut out the support posts. And probably cut into that area there as well. Which we could do. And I think I might do. The actual body shell doesn't necessarily need to be screwed into all those bits. It holds on at the back and the front anyway. So could do that. I was looking at this car, which has been on the table for quite a while. I was going to do some work on it. It's infrared controlled. That there is, the infrared sensor is under there. And those wheels are quite nice. In fact, the gearbox in there I think we'll find is the same as that gearbox. And those wheels could fit in there if we cut it around a bit. The actual distance across there is about the same as that distance. So they could fit in there. Could even use the steering. At the front as well. So I could use the parts out of that. But before I do that, I want to convert this one to radio control instead of infrared. I might even convert it to hobby grade. In fact, hobby grade is easier than converting it to ordinary toy grade. And then there's something else I'd like to do. I'd like to try out a little theory I've got with the infrared receiver in there. Try and link it to an ordinary toy grade radio control receiver. Like this one. But rather than use all the components on there, I just want the radio frequency part of the circuit. So what you have to do is identify the feed that goes into the, is that one or not? Yeah, that's an RX2 chip. So I can't remember which pin it is, but one of those pins is the pin that takes the input from the radio frequency, or the radio receiver part of it, goes into the RX2 chip, and then that's converted to your forwards, backwards, left, right. So part of that board with the infrared controller to see if we can control the infrared controller with the input from the radio frequency receiver circuit there. That all sounds a bit complicated, doesn't it? But that is what I'd like to do, just to see, or to answer an old question actually, which was about how the RX2 chips work. I did do a video demonstrating the RX2 and the TX2 chips. Anyway, a lot of waffle. 5 minutes into the video already and we've done nothing. What I'm going to do in this video is convert this tardigrade, because that's the easiest thing to do. Once I've done that and we've run it around a bit, I'll decide whether I'm going to pinch all the bits out of there and put them in there. So what we have here is a TOMY infrared controlled car. I've had 3 or 4 of these, and I think I've had radio controlled ones as well, rather than infrared. But we'll take this one apart. Looks like this one originally cost me £1.99 from a charity shop. Probably collector's items or something now. It's got 2000 on there, year 2000. So I expect somebody will look at what I'm doing with horror. I had a question the other day about wire controlled cars. That's where you've got no radio receiver in the one. You've just got a bit of wire hanging out the back, which goes directly to your hand controller. So I've got quite a few videos of them, and I've converted quite a few of them to radio control. Right, is it going to come apart nicely, or are you going to be awkward? There we go. Okay, we've got a bunch of wires going up there. If I unplug that, that's the infrared receiver. Or as it says, yeah, sensor, infrared sensor. There's also lights and a speaker. And that button is the one that operates the lights and speaker, I think. And what I was waffling about in the introduction, if I've included that in this part of the video, I was thinking of trying to intercept the feed that comes from the infrared and try and use an ordinary toy grade radio receiver to do it. And I'm looking here, and that's not going to be possible with this particular one, because rather than having an RX2 chip there, they've got a black blob. Right, so that isn't going to happen. I'll have to look for another infrared toy to do that with. Okay, so we need for this, the easy conversion, an ESC to control the motor for the steering, and an ESC to control the motor for the drive. Now this one, it's got this lever here. In that position, the motor is, the gears are in mesh with the motor. In that position it's freewheeling, and in that position I think it also brings in the sound effects, which is why there's extra wires going in there, so you can have it silent or with sound effects. Yeah, I'm just going to cut all that off for now. Not going to use any of that. If I disconnect this, or unscrew it, I think I can get the switch out of there that does all that switching of the sound effects in and out. And just take that out of the way, because we might use it again sometime in the future. Looking at all the corrosion there, it looks like this one's been out in the rain or something. Yeah, there we go. So we can take that out, put that back in again just so we don't lose it. Oh, hang on. Does that go? Yeah, that's right. Probably ought to get all that dust and muck out the way as well. One of those went in there, don't know which one. Not that one, that's too small. Oh, there it is. Right, we need to put some connectors on the motor for the back wheels. Connector on there for the front wheels, a couple of ESCs. Have a look at those battery contacts, that all looks very corroded to me. Yeah, falling out. I could just break those crosses out and we can use a 2S LiPo or lithium ion battery, should sit in there quite nicely. Now some people tell me to take out the suppression circuit, and other people don't say anything. I leave it in. Interestingly enough, that looks like a thermal fuse. So if all that overheated, that would blow. Interesting. Actually, if we can save two of them, if they're not too corroded, we could run it on a two-cell 14500 lithium ion batteries. My mind is moving on as we go along. I am going to use a couple of these 14500 lithium ion batteries. They'll go in that position and that position. The way they've got this set up is all the batteries point the same way. So negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, which is why they've got those straps across. I'm thinking that if I put that switch back in there and use two of the wires to go between there and there, so that will break the circuit, then I can have battery there, feeds off negative and positive to go to the ESCs, and I can switch it on and off, the whole thing on and off, by having a switch across that strap there, or removing that strap and having a switch there, because that will be disconnecting the circuit. So I'm going to put that back in again. But I'll desolder the wires and then just use 2 of them, just for straight on off. Yeah, I'll sort that out in a minute. The other thing I'm going to do is I've got a very weak solution of vinegar here. Just going to see if I can clean off some of that green verdigris. It just dissolves the crystals that have formed. The only thing is it sometimes takes the coating off the copper as well. If I was trying to get this back to working the way it was originally, the fact that little bit fell out, that bit, was probably why it had been donated to the charity shop. It probably stopped working. So that would have had to be replaced. I'll go and get some clean water in a minute. But that does seem to have taken off the green verdigris. Or most of it anyway. Didn't really need to do it, I just wanted to demonstrate you could do it. So I'll get some fresh water and we'll just brush clean water over it. I think ideally you'd use a hairdryer or something to dry it off now. Looks like it got left out in the rain. Or it could have just been the batteries had leaked, I suppose. Still, they don't look as green as they did. Still a little bit of green there. That'll do for now though. Right, can we get solder on there? Might need a hotter soldering iron, I think. Not a lot happening there. Oh, that one's come loose all right. So that's where we can put the on-off switch. This one I'll just take off because we don't need it. Definitely a hotter soldering iron would make it easier. which is annoying because I had it out yesterday and put it back upstairs in the workroom. There we go, got it eventually. So we've got clean connections there. On-off switch. How is this one working? I bet this will be that old wire that won't take solder. Not that that matters, I intend to take it off anyway. Okay, if I go on that one. Yeah, if I use the outside two, it won't matter which way we go, middle is off and outside will be on. So, switch is back in place now. I've used white wires simply because I got white wires available. So, press on there, on, off, on, off. So now we'll connect up some JST connectors. Some of these to go from here to the ESCs. So, by magic, there's our two JST connectors. Two, because we want to power two ESCs at the same time. Now we want a couple of female JST connectors to go on to the motors. Okay, we've now got a couple of JST connectors directly on the motor tags. I've got heat shrink cable there, or heat shrink tubing, but I haven't actually shrunk it in place in case I've got to swap these over, negative to positive. Got a receiver, which can sit there for a second. A couple of ESCs. I think these are 20 amp ones, probably. So that end into there, that end into there, that end, that's going to be the steering one, which is channel 1. And this one into there, this one into here, that one is going to be channel 2. And we need a couple of batteries in here, would be handy. Which I go the right way round. There's one. Right, all in place. So we've got our two JST leads teed together on the battery, or the battery outlets. So we've got one lead going to, which one's that? That one's going to the drive motor, and that one is going to the steering motor. So they're just sitting in there. Got one of my All-Star receivers in there. They're just the cheapest ones I can get at the moment. So that all sits in there. If I turn it off, it's off. You might have seen the lights went out. On. Forwards, backwards. So I'll put the top back on and we'll give it a little run. I haven't put any of the screws back in to hold it in place. I've just rested it on top. And we'll give it a little run. I'll change to wide angle. Yeah, well that works. behind the scenes I had to do quite a lot of work on it. There's all sorts of little problems came up, but you don't need to know about all them. Simple thing is, it's now hobby grade with 2 ESCs controlling it. The only question is, do I pinch the wheels off it, wheels and tyres, to go on the other car? And now that it's working, I don't think I will, or at least not for a while. I think I might give this one a run outside somewhere, just for a bit of fun. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.